have lost their relatives. So naturally they have lost their peace of mind. That is one thing. And second thing is that there is worry also, worry about the future. Another thing, that economic slowdown has come. Some people have lost their jobs. Some reduction in their salary has come. So all these problems are also there. In the context of that, that has become an important topic now. But even otherwise, it was an important topic. Why? Because depression is now the third largest reason for deaths. Increasing number of suicides, increasing number of schizophrenic passions. This is all occurring, and not only in developing countries, more so in the developed countries. So our equation was H is directly proportional to M, where H is equal to happiness and M is equal to money. That is wrong, because in so-called developed countries where standard of per capita income is much more, there the rate of suicide is more, the rate of schizophrenic patients is more. So this particular misnomer is that only by having per capita income increase and per capita income will have peace of mind, is a wrong equation. But anyway, it is a very important topic on which we are talking today. Some person jokingly said, you know, everybody is saying, I want peace, I want peace. There's nobody getting peace. The solution is simple. I want peace. Remove I and want, and you get the peace. What is left is peace. Really. And we find, yes, find out what is the cause of lack of peace. These are the two basic reasons. I, that is ego, and want, consumerism. Ego, the clash between husband and wife, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, clash between manager and subordinate, all because of ego, ego, ego. It is the clash of egos only. And so I is is the main culprit for all types of these disturbances in our peace of mind. So Swami Vivekananda says, this rascal ego, he gives a beautiful name. This rascal ego must be obliterated. So bless the man when they revile you. Think how much good they are doing good to you by obliterating your rascal ego. So when somebody criticizes, you should be happy that your ego is being crushed, and you are going for a spiritual development, and you are going for better peace of mind. So one is I. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say there are two types of I: ripe I, kacha ami. Ripe I, that is paka ami. Unripe I, kacha ami. So ripe I is good. I am divine. I am the child of God. I am the child of immortal bliss. I am a devotee of the Lord. This is a good I. It's a good ego. And another thing is kacha ami, the rascal ego. I am the officer. Don't you know? I'll put you to jail. Don't you know who am I? This is rascal ego. This is the unripe ego. So ripe ego, how does it come? It will come. The true identity is that we are not body-mind complex. This I, connected with body and complex, body-mind complex, is the unripe I. So when this I becomes identified with the real consciousness that is within us, then really we get the ripe I, the good I, which will help us. And this I, that I am divine, that will give us peace of mind. Now, how to get this? There are 4 ways, 4 yogas. Swami Vivekananda says the gist of whole of Vedanta, he gives in his book Raj Yoga. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal of human life is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of these and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines, dogmas, rituals, temples, churches, mosques are but secondary details. So these four yogas, Raj Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Karma Yoga, these four yogas, if we practice, we will get happiness and peace in daily life, and it will also lead us to the eternal peace. Anyway, we will discuss about it in shortly later on. But this is the all about I. Second word is want. Want is connected with our this present problem of consumerism. Almost all of us have become prey of this consumerism. I want more, more, more. There is no satisfaction. You got motorcycle, now you want a car. You got a car, you want a latest model car. You want latest model car, you want second car. It's going on increasing. So Eric Fromm says in his book, To Have or To Be, there he says, man has become a commodity. Man has become a commodity. He thinks himself like a commodity and sells himself like a commodity. You know, when he wrote this book, I don't know how he could understand this is what going to happen, because now really the cricket players are being sold. Really. But at that time, I don't know how he got it. And bridegrooms are sold. Dowry system is still there, though in many places now it is reduced. But in some of the states, this dowry system is still existing, and bridegrooms are being sold and being purchased. I don't know the latest rate, but previously, a bridegroom, if he is engineer, 40 lakh of rupees is his rate. Doctor, 60 lakh rupees. IAS and IPS, 1 crore rupees. Why? He can do more corruption and bring more money. So my daughter will be very happy. Let me give 1 crore rupees dowry. This is all about consumerism, upabhoktavad. So man has become a commodity, thinks himself like a commodity and sells himself like a commodity. And now the new thing has come, affluenza. You know, it is not influenza. Influenza, we get it also sometimes. No, it is not influenza. It is affluenza. It comes to affluent people. What is affluenza? Affluenza is that you want more. The more you get, the more you want more. And you become prey of Nugen neurosis. And then, naturally, schizophrenia, drug addiction, suicide. So in America, there are many books have come out on affluenza. And in America, the parents have started affluenza resistant society to protect their children from affluenza. They take the children to the rural side, village side, and say, you see, these people do not have even one car, these children, and still they are happy, and you have got 2 cars, still you want more. This is how they are trying to explain. And they are they're trying to save the children from affluenza. But affluenza come in a big way to the affluent people in America. It has come to India also. Why? Because in India, though they are 25% below poverty line, there are few people who have become very rich. I was amazed to learn some news item. In North India, one boy, he threw away Mercedes-Benz car in the sea. Can you imagine? Mercedes-Benz car in the sea. Why? He wanted Jaguar, and his father on his birthday gifted Mercedes-Benz car. And so there was a joke. In America, the people used to tell their children, you see, don't spoil food. In India, they are so poor, they don't get food. Now, reverse thing is happening. They are telling, hey, Mercedes-Benz car, they are throwing away. They are so affluent in India. This is the example they are giving. But of course, the number may be small, but it is happening. One lady came to me some time back. She said, I want to commit suicide. Why? Suicide, do you know you have to give, it will go to become a ghost. Why do you want to undergo all this type of suffering? What is the matter? She said, I am telling my husband to purchase a new house, but he is not still purchasing. I said, he is refusing. She said, no, he is telling that just now there is a lot of loss in the business. And so once the loss is overcome, then I will give you the new house. You are living in a rented house? No. We have a house, only 4 rooms, and this old fashioned, I cannot invite my friends because it's an old fashioned house, only 4 rooms. I said, I must congratulate your husband for not killing you. You will not have the opportunity of committing suicide had there been another husband. He is undergoing so much of loss, he is undergoing so much tension, you are increasing his tension. And instead of helping him, you are still threatening him that I will commit suicide if you don't give me the new house. Anyway, I said, you wait for some time. There are many books have come out, how to commit suicide. I will give you one. But for the time being, read this book. I gave her a book of Holy Mother Sharda Devi. I said, you have got a book of, you have a house of 4 rooms and still you want a better house. Read the biography of Holy Mother Sharda Devi, consort of Sri Ramakrishna, who was the guru of Swami Vivekananda. She used to stay just opposite the room of Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar temple in Kolkata. And it was the only Naubat Khana, that is a music tower, a small, very small room, 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet, an octagonal room. And that was her drawing room, that was her kitchen, that was her bedroom, that was her guest room, everything inside that small room. And she said, she's lived there for many years. And she said, when I was in Naubat, I was so much full of peace of mind. I never knew what is lack of peace of mind. So much peace of mind with at least that small room. She was living there. And now you have got such a big house and still. So read the biography of Sharda Devi. She is still alive. Another lady came to me. I want to commit suicide. What is this? Everybody wants to commit suicide. What has happened? Now I cannot take it any longer. What has happened? My son is in 6th standard. Every day he is threatening me, I will commit suicide. I will commit. Now I will myself commit suicide so that I do not want to listen to him. What is the matter? Matter is that every day he comes and he says, I want this school bag, the costliest bag available in Rajkot. So we gave him a new bag. Then he says, I want this type of shoes, the costliest shoes in Rajkot. Then we gave them. Every day he has got a new demand. And my husband is a middle class person, and we are not that rich, but we thought only one son. So we admitted into the best school, and we thought best school means the costliest school where the fees are very high. So we are paying so much high fees. That itself is very difficult for us. And plus every day he is demanding like that. I said, it is your mistake thinking that the costliest school is the best school. Anyway, now the only solution is, you please correct your mistake. Tell your son that we are going to change your school because it's not your fault. And I told her, it's not the fault of your son. You see, all his friends, they are coming from aristocratic family, and every day I got new shoes, very costly shoes, very costly school bag. So how he has to, after all, they are his friends. So how can he survive? So it is not his fault, it's your fault. So then they told, okay. Then after a few days, that lady came to me. Swami ji, aapne to kamal kar diya, magic ho gaya. Kya magic ho gaya? I told him that we have made a mistake to put you in this school, so we are going to correct that mistake. Because we are in this school, that's why every day you are demanding this. And every day, whenever we say it's not possible, he will say, I will commit suicide. He is threatening. every day. So now when we saw, okay, now we'll change the school. Are su wat karu. Page padi gyo. He fell down at the feet of mother. Ma, no, don't change my school. I will not ask anything from today. Sidho door thai gyo. So anyway, this is all how the affluenza and consumerism has come in a very big way. And previously, the formula was simple living and high thinking. Now the formula is high living and simple thinking, sometimes no thinking. Where are we going? What is the purpose of life? We do not know. There is a Zen story. A horse was galloping at full speed and somebody asked, where are you going? He said, ask the horse. Because I am not taking the horse. Horse is taking me. We are not leading the life. Life is leading us. Just blindly we are following. Everybody running mad after money. We are also running mad after money. What is the purpose of life? What is the aim of life? Why are we here on this earth? What do we want to achieve before we die? Nothing. No thinking. No thinking. That's why Dana Zohar says we are unfortunately living in a spiritually dumb society. And she gives a beautiful example. By the side of the Mexican coast, there was a boat in which a fisherman was sleeping. It was afternoon. And on the coast was a management consultant sitting there. He saw this fisherman is sleeping. He said, hey, what are you doing? Why are you not fishing? Why are you sleeping? It is still afternoon. Then that person in his sleeping posture, he said, sir, you know what happened in the morning? I got a big catch. I got a big fish. I sold it and I got enough money to fulfill my today's needs. My today's quota is over. And so I am relaxing. What? Is there any quota system here? You must earn more. You must catch fish and then you sell and you earn more. But what do I do with the extra money? Why? Deposit. Deposit. You never heard the word deposit. Yes. Open a bank account and deposit. Then go on depositing. And when you got enough deposit, purchase another boat. Then naturally you will get more money. What to do with that money? Again deposit. So go on increasing the fleet of boats. Then you will become CEO of a multinational company. And then move your headquarters from Mexico to New York and go all over the world, open branches and just expand your empire. Then naturally when you travel too much, there will be blood pressure, there will be bypass surgery. When there are 3 bypass surgeries and doctor says no more, then you retire. Sell the company. Come back to me. I am an investment expert from a Harvard University. So I will tell you where to invest. And when you invest like that, every month you will get fixed income and you will be able to sleep nicely without any tranquilizer. Sir, I was sleeping nicely only. You woke me up. For sleeping nicely, such a roundabout process, itna lamba chakkar. Dana Zohar says, this fisherman has got low IQ. He doesn't know how to make money. This management expert has got high IQ. He knows how to make money. But this fisherman has got high SQ. He knows the purpose of life is to have happiness and peace. Whereas this consultant has got low SQ. He doesn't know the purpose of life. Now, don't take a wrong message. I don't mean to say that you should not earn more. I don't mean to say that you should not use more IQ and earn more and have a better standard of living. Particularly in India, we have to have economic development. But thinking that money alone kills all our problems and our priority is money and not peace of mind, this particular thinking is leading us to lack of peace of mind. We must give priority to peace of mind. Simultaneously, also, we must give importance to money, no doubt about it. At the same time, we must know what is the purpose of life. So Dana Zohar says, SQ is very important, spiritual quotient. SQ. This is the latest discovery of the modern science, where she says neurologically, physiologically, biologically, psychologically, From every point of view, there is a concluding evidence. Concluding evidence, there is something called SQ, which is the basis of both IQ and EQ. What is IQ? IQ will tell you how to play the game of life. What is EQ? EQ will tell you how to play the game of life under changed circumstances with changed strategies. And what is SQ? SQ will tell you whether to play the game of life at all or not. What is the purpose of life? What is the aim of life? What do you want to do before you die? That is SQ. How to develop SQ? This is, as I told you, Swami Vivekananda gave that reply. Each soul is potentially divine, and the goal of human life is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature external and internal. Truth is either by work, worship, psychic control, or philosophy, by one or more or all of these, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines, dogmas, rituals, temple, churches, mosques are but secondary details. So this combination of 4 yogas will lead us to peace in everyday life, will lead us also to eternal peace. First is Raj Yoga. Raj Yoga is a Patanjali Yoga Sutra, consists of 8 limbs. That's why it's called Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. What is Yama? Yama is Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Ahimsa. Satya, truthfulness. Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya, continence. Aparigraha, non-hoarding. And Ahimsa, non-violence. There are 5 niyamas. Shauch, contentment. Shauch, cleanliness. Santosh, that is contentment. Tap, austerity. Swadhyay, that is study. And Ishwar Pranidhan, surrender to God. So Yama, Niyama, then Asana, Pratyahar, Dharana, fixing the mind on one particular pratyay, Dhyan, meditation, and Samadhi. Samadhi is full absorption. When you lose your identity, the ego, the I. So we told I is the villain. I has to be converted into the real I. That is, I am Satchit Ananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. That is the stage of Samadhi, the 8th step. So here Raj Yoga in a sense means that is following the ethical principles and meditation. Now meditation, already the scientists have discovered that meditation has got a very good effect on the mind. There is a beautiful book, The Relaxation Response, by Dr. Herbert Benson, the associate professor of Harvard Medical College, Harvard Medical School, where he made research for 25 years and found out that when you regularly meditate with a relaxation technique, the blood pressure goes down. And so many books have come out. Dr. Deepak Chopra's book, The Quantum Healing, The Ageless Body and the Timeless Mind, and The Perfect Health, and Dr. Dean Ornish, Reversing the Heart Disease. All these books have told that if you go for meditation and diet control, you can bypass the bypass surgery, you can have tranquility. Some 4 Zen monks were meditating, and 4 neuropsychiatrists in Japan, they made experiments on these 4 Zen monks. They were meditating. The first thought they saw when they were meditating, they were 10 to 12 cycles per second of alpha waves. When the meditation deepened, then there were 8 to 10 cycles per second of alpha waves. And when further it deepened, then there were 6 to 7 cycles per second of theta waves. And theta waves, they denote tranquility. So it was proved that meditation can lead you to tranquility. Tranquility means peace of mind. So meditation leads you to peace of mind. That has been scientifically proved, experimentally proved. And there are various types of meditation techniques. Of course, there are lectures available on meditation. My lectures also on YouTube, and other lectures may be available. Then meditation techniques may be Vedantic meditation, Zen meditation, Vipassana meditation, Praksha meditation, mindfulness technique, Zen meditation. So many types of techniques. You can choose any one and have meditation regularly, at least for 5 to 10 minutes morning and evening to start with. And you can see for yourself the result. Second is Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, the path of love to God, the path of prayer and repeating the mantra, prayer, worship. That is devotion, that is Bhakti Yoga. So that also gives peace of mind. In fact, when you feel that absolutely there is no other way available now for you, no other way to escape the misery, no other way where you can go for solace, then the last solace available is of God. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham ta sarvapapebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha, says Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Giving up all your anxieties and all the types of your this help, come to me, surrender to me, don't grieve. I will remove all anxiety from your mind. Come to me, surrender to me. This is the promise given by Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. The path of self-surrender, the path of devotion to God. Third is Gyan Yoga, where you try to find out who am I? Analytical thinking, Gyan Yoga. Am I the body? No. Am I the mind? No. Am I the intellect? No. Am I the ego? No. Then who am I? I am beyond. Mano buddhi chittani ahankara naham. Chidanadarupa shivoham shivoham. And the birthless, deathless, ever pure, ever blissful Atman. That is my true nature. I am not this body-mind complex. That is Gyan Yoga. Through practice it comes. And then fourth, Karma Yoga, which is more important for all of us. That is converting work into worship. How? By change of attitude of mind. Carrying out work in the spirit of worship. And that can be easily done. How work can be converted into worship. Karma Yoga. How karma can become Karma Yoga. And also this is the path of unselfish service. Swami Vivekananda says, unselfishness is more paying in the long run. Unfortunately, people do not have the passions to practice it. He gave a beautiful letter. He wrote a beautiful letter to Maharaja of Mysore. My dear prince, this life is short. The vanities of this world are transient. In this short life, they alone live, who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. Everywhere you find most of the people are dead people. मैं, मेरी बीबी, मेरा बच्चा, मेरा मकान, देश है फाड़ में. All for myself. Me, me, me. So Time magazine brought out a special issue with the front cover. The new X generation is me, me, me. All about me, me, me. Just I, me, me, me. To me, everything I want for me. This is the new generation. And that is because of self-centeredness we are suffering. So give, give, give. The law of giving is supreme in the mental world. The law of karma is supreme in the mental world. Just as law of gravitation is supreme in the physical world. Some people say, we don't believe in the law of karma. I say, whether you believe it or not, the law of karma will act. These are all lighthouse principles. Stephen Covey says in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he gives the example. There is a steamer was going on and suddenly they saw a light and the captain asked, the light is static or moving? Static. My God, that means we have come almost at colliding point. So send the message through wireless. Please move your ship by 20 degrees. And the message came from there. You move your ship by 20 degrees. Now the captain was very much annoyed. I am the captain of the ship commanding you to move your ship. Who is at the other end? The reply came, sir, I am a humble operator of the lighthouse. If you don't change the direction, well, it is you who are going to collide. I am sitting in the lighthouse. So these are a lighthouse principle. If you do not obey the lighthouse principle, you are going to be broken. Nothing will happen to the law. You will be broken. These are all lighthouse principles. You say, I do not believe in the law of gravitation. Go to the top floor of a multi-story building and declare, I don't believe in the law of gravitation, and jump. What will happen? Your photograph will be published in the newspaper next day. This person did not believe in the law of karma, and yet the law of karma did happen, did act, and he was dead. So whether you believe or not, whether you believe in it or not, the law of karma will act. Whether you believe it or not, the law of gravitation will act. So law of karma is supreme in the mental world, just as law of gravity is supreme in the physical world. So it will happen. It will happen. When you do good work, you will get good result. You will do bad work, you will get bad result. Is there no escape? Yes, there is escape. But simultaneously from the law of karma, there is law of grace of God. If you surrender to God, then God can take out. Holy Mother Sharda Devi says, if somebody surrenders to God, supposing he was one person was to get, because of the law of karma, an injury of the sword, he may get injury of a small needle. That's all. But that much he has to suffer, but it will be reduced. Why? Because there is another law of grace of God. He surrendered to God, and so he got back. He got reduced that punishment, whatever it is. So this law of karma is supreme. This karma yoga, when you karma yoga, if you do it with detachment, then each and every work can be converted to worship. And second is unselfish service. And charity begins at home. You serve your parents, grandparents. That also is a service that can be done to begin with. Some people say, we are not rich, how to serve? Well, always money is not required. By one sweet word, you can give solace to other. Swami Vivekananda says, at long last you will understand that the best way to become happy is to see that others are happy. And the best way to get peace of mind is to pray for others' peace of mind. So he used to say, when you start meditation in the morning, start with this prayer, the prayer which I recited in the beginning. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashchid dukh bhag bhavet. Let all be happy, let all be healthy, let all attain goodness, let none get misery. What a beautiful prayer. If you pray like this, if you pray for anybody thousands of miles away, he or she will get the result of this prayer. He or she will get peace of mind. But first you will get peace of mind because you prayed. Wonderful. You also get peace of mind. The others also get peace of mind. Nothing, no money required for doing this particular service. Just pray. And when you pray sincerely, surely you will yourself get peace of mind by praying for the peace of mind of others. Many people reported after praying like this, they got the peace of mind. Some people said, no, this is not working. I said, there is something wrong in your prayer, in the way you pray, because so many people have reported that the prayer is working. So there must be something wrong in the way you pray. Some people, they pray, oh Lord, let all be happy, minus my mother-in-law. Oh Lord, let all be happy, minus my daughter-in-law. Oh Lord, let all be happy, minus my husband. Oh Lord, let all be happy, minus my wife. Don't put a bracket there. At that time of prayer, at least don't put a bracket. Then you see the miracle of prayer. So this karma yoga, a little bit of unselfish service, even this unselfish prayer also will give peace of mind. So I have just given a very brief outline of the way in which we can get peace in everyday life. It's a very vast topic. But anyway, I am very eager to reply to the questions. So I end here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tassat.
Thank you, Swamiji. It was wonderful. I think we always say in management, back to basics. એટલી સરળ આપણી જિંદગી છે ને આપણે જેને એટલી બધી આપે જે નાની નાની ટિપ્સ વન્ડરફુલ કર્મયોગા અને જે આઈ વોન્ટ વાળી જે વાત હતી એ તો ખરેખર ગળામાં ને બધે ઉતરી જાય એવી છે. So I think we'll keep the forum open for question answer or sharing of your observations or what you would like to know from Swamiji, because I think I'm sure you have a lot of things in your mind, maybe personal, professional, ethical, spiritual. So please feel free to share and ask Swamiji, and I think we'll get a little more deeper into what the peace means. So, do anyone, Radhika, interested in asking, can they unmute themselves, or will they ask on the...
In the comment box, let them put their question in the comment box, and
Okay,
you read out the question to me.
Radhika, can you help?
Yes, good
Sure.
evening, sir. Yeah. So they can post question in the chat box and we can read it, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have received one question that what does peace mean? Can you describe the meaning of peace so it would be easy for us to manage?
Yeah. Very good. Now, peace, is a feeling of the mind. Everybody knows what is peace all about. It's a thing to be felt. All the time you are restless. When the restlessness is put to rest, that is the time when you feel what is peace. Restlessness is put to rest. That time you know what is real peace. Another thing, an old woman, she was weeping. So some young man said, "Hey, why are you weeping?" She said, "I lost my needle." So why are you weeping? I will find out for you. So he also started searching along with that old woman, but for the needle, he also could not get. Then he asked this old woman, "Where did you lose it?" And the old woman said, "I lost it inside that room. And you are searching outside in the veranda. Oh, there is darkness there and here's light. So I am searching here." Go on searching infinite time, you will not get it because it is lost there and you are searching here. This is the story of all of us. The peace is residing within, and we are searching outside in the latest model mobile, latest model house, latest model dresses. We will not going to get it. The source of infinite joy, infinite happiness, infinite bliss is inside each and every human being. Says our Shastras, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yod Vidadhati Kaman Tam Atmastam Yenupashyanti Dhira Tesham Shanti Shashwati Netaresham. They alone get this peace. Who will get peace? Who see this peace within, who see the Lord within, who see the superconscious within. They only can get the eternal peace, not the others. So peace, the source of infinite joy, infinite peace inside, we are trying to search for outside. मोको कहां तू ढूंढे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में, खोजोगे तभी मिलूंगा पल भर के तलाश में, says Kabir. Within a fraction you will get it, but I am inside. Outside I will not get it. नाभि कमल में है कस्तूरी, वृथा मृग फिरे बनकारे, बिन सदगुरु नर ऐसे ही ढूंढे, जैसे फिरे पशु बनकारे. There is a deer, musk deer. In the Himalayas, you get that musk deer running. That musk deer is running too much. Why? From somewhere it is getting the smell of the fragrance of musk. And like that, it dies. Afterwards, it is found the musk was inside that novel of that particular deer. नाभि कमल में है कस्तूरी, वृथा मृग फिरे बनकारे, बिन सदगुरु नर ऐसे ढूंढे, जैसे फिरे पशु बनकारे. This is the story of all of us. The peace is inside, and we are searching outside. So, and how to get it? As I told you, remove the screen of I, ego. Kabir says, घूंघट कापट खोल रे तो है पिया मिलेंगे, कटुक वचन मत बोल रे तो है पिया मिलेंगे. You will get the Lord, but the Lord which is within. You will get the source of infinite joy, happiness, and peace within. But you will have to remove that ignorance. You have to remove that ego. The screen of ego has to be removed. And how it can be removed? 4 methods: Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga. Already I have explained about it. Any other question?
There is another question, that is how to manage peace at your workplace.
Yeah, very good. Now, peace at workplace, or whether any place, workplace is the problem is that the performing this boss may be little more harsh, not very good behaving person. The colleagues may be non-performing colleagues, and your subordinates may be non-performing subordinates. All these types of problems come naturally. And then there is pressure also of fulfilling the targets. All these build up their tension. So what we should do under that circumstance? Remember the shloka from the Bhagavad Gita, Karmani avadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmafal hetulbhu mate sangosta akarmani. Arjuna, you have the right to do action, not to the fruits thereof. The law of karma is supreme. I will give the result at the proper time with compound interest, but don't hanker that result. Expectation will always bring misery. So do your work with full efficiency. You will get result today or tomorrow, but your eyes should not be on the result. Ma phaleshu kadashana. So what we have to do? The golden formula is do your best and leave the rest. Do your best. Don't be worried about the result. So supposing in the factory also, you're working under certain circumstances which are very adverse. What you can do? Try your best. What you can do? Do your best. Can you do better than best? You see, good, better, best. Best is the maximum. So try to do the best. Then what happens? Leave the rest. Why? Ultimately, hota wahi jo khud manzil khuda hota hai. That does not mean everything we leave to Lord, leave to the Khuda. No. Ultimately, the divine will shall prevail, but we have to do our own action. And when we do that action, that result will come today or tomorrow with compound interest, not with simple interest. So don't worry. You try your best. There may be adverse circumstances, and you go on in your own way. Ultimately, remember, Satyamev Jayate. Satyameva Jayate. Ultimately, the truth shall triumph. Don't leave the truth. For the time being, you will have to suffer. Ultimately, Pandavas will win. Ultimately, the truth shall win. Any other question?
Any other questions or observations we have? I think
There are many coming in the comment box. Somebody can read out to me.
There is one more, that is, question is, my prayers are not being answered, so how to respond it for the peace?
Very nice question. Now, the prayer, in order that it becomes effective, there are certain conditions. It should be frequently done. Intensity should be there, and it should be done with a pure heart, and it should be as much unselfish possible as possible. You know, when somebody was praying to the Lord, please see that I am able to lift this particular bow and arrow of Shankara. No, there was that yagna, and when Ramchandra ultimately took it. When he was praying, all the other kings were praying, let him not lift it, because So Lord will listen to so many people or to only one person. You imagine? So whenever there is selfish prayer, it will take time to fulfill. When it is unselfish prayer, not fully unselfish, we cannot do it, but little bit unselfishness makes little more, audible. So one young man, he came to a father, Christian father. Father, I'm very much in distress and I'm unemployed and I'm suffering. The father said, why you pray? I'm praying, but the prayer is not working. The father said, okay, you make it little more unselfish prayer. Don't ask only for the job. You make it a little more unselfish, then it will be heard. How to make it unselfish? Okay. You tell, oh Lord, if you give me employment, whatever I get income, 10% I will give for charity. Then the young man said, okay, I'll make it unselfish. I don't mind. 90% will be mine. 10% is not a big deal. So he prayed to God, Lord, please give me job. And if you give me the job, I'll give 10% in charity. And he got the job. And the first week he got $100 and he gave $10 to father. Now, next week he got $200. So he gave $20. Afterwards, it so happened after some weeks, he started getting $1,000 per week. And so he had to give now $100. Father, this is too much. $100 donation is too much. Is there no way out? Can I not reduce that donation? Then the father said, he was very wise. He said, you see, you cannot change your condition up. But one thing you can do, you can pray to God to reduce your income so that ultimately the amount of donation is less. Anyway, that's a joke apart. So make it little more unselfish and the prayer will be heard. So selfish prayers takes time. Another thing is sometimes God is responding, but he knows. If you ask a doctor, please give me poison, he will not give you. You say, I want potassium cyanide. The doctor will understand that potassium cyanide means you want to commit suicide and ultimately I'll be with the bar. He will not give you. Similarly, if you ask God for potassium cyanide, something which is not going to do good to you, rather it's going to give you some more suffering. If he knows, if you purchase this car, this is going to create accident and you are going to die, he will not allow. He will not give you this car. He will save you because you are devotee. He wants to protect the devotees. You may not understand at that time. Afterwards, you will understand, my God. One person, he was not a very much believer in God, but his wife says, no, pray. He was not getting a ticket, air ticket. So because his wife said, oh Lord, please get me the ticket. And he did not get it. So he told his wife, you see, I told you God does not listen to the prayer. And I don't believe in your God now. I asked only for one air ticket to Bangalore. And that also he did not give. So what sort of God is? I do not believe that he listens to the prayer. Within 1 hour, the news came that the plane got crushed and all the people died. Oh my God, no, your God is very kind, very sympathetic. Had I got the ticket, I would have died. So God knows whose prayer to be heard, when to be heard, how to be heard. Let us not be dictators. Let us not dictate God. He knows better. Go on praying. Make it more intense prayer. Swami Turiyananji Maharaj, he was a brother disciple of Swami Vivekananda, and he used to say beautifully how to pray. He says, go on praying like a small child. Small child just tells the parents, give me this, give me this, give me this. So much it is telling that ultimately the mother gets so much annoyed and throws away that particular thing. Similarly, go on clinging, praying. And he says, he uses a beautiful word. Pray in such a manner that you make God restless. By your incessant prayers, you make God restless. So God will say, my God, I have lost my peace of mind. Incessantly he is praying. So let me get peace of mind by giving him peace of mind. So rob him of his peace as it were. Swami Turiyan said, rob him of his peace, as it were, by your continued prayers. If you pray like this, for getting his peace of mind, he will give you peace of mind.
Okay, if we have some time, we can take only one question, and then I think it's almost 7:35.
મારું બધું દઈ દે, ઈમેલ દઈ દે, મારું વેબસાઇટ દઈ દે, મારી પર્સનલ બધું દઈ. Because now there is no time, but one question we can take, but you can ask me questions on my email ID that is given to you
Yeah,
in the
that is also
comment
fine.
box. And
Yes.
also my website contains all the articles, and my YouTube link is also being given. There are so many lectures available and question answer sessions available. You can go through that. And still, if you have some question left, you can always write to me by mail, and we take up now the last question.
Any one question important left? Can you help reading? Because I thought you are doing so. Email has already come on the chat box. So જેમને email દ્વારા પૂછવું હોય પૂછી શકે. સ્વામીજી એક સવાલ આવે તો મને યાદ છે, મેં જોયું હતું કે કોઈને પૂછવું હતું કે આપના રામકૃષ્ણ મિશનમાં રાજકોટમાં કઈ રીતે સંપર્ક કરી શકાય, એના સભ્ય બનવું હોય ને એમાં ઇન્વોલ્વ થવું હોય.
Yeah. You go to our website. All the details are given. rkmrajkot.org. www.rkmrajkot.org. That is our website. And my website, swaminihileshwaranand.com. Please go through these two websites and get all the details. And then the YouTube link of Ramakrishna Ashram is with the same name, Ramakrishna Ashram Rajkot. There is YouTube link. And my name, there is a YouTube link, Swami Nikhileshwaranand, that you will get. In both the links, you will get a lot of lectures available. Question answer sessions also there. In fact, every day our satsang is going on with question answer session and Bhagavata every day. From the time the corona has come, from 1.5 years, there is more than 400 lectures have been already done. More than 300 question answer sessions have appeared. All these are available in YouTube links. So you can go through them, of course, but the question answer that I hold every day is in Hindi. But in my YouTube link, there are many other question answer sessions in English. So you can go through that also.
Thank you. I think these all links have been shared on the chat box just now, all three what Swamiji has mentioned. So all of us can very easily have access. So Swamiji, thank you. Khub Aabhar. It was wonderful, I think, talking to you, knowing you, and so simply in a simple flow, you have explained everything that I think it will keep us reminding of many things, especially the karma yoga and ભગવાનની પ્રાર્થનાની જે વાત કરી કે ભગવાન ખરેખર જે આપવાનું હોય એ આપે છે, એ ખરેખર બહુ સુંદર વાત હતી. આજથી અમે આમાંથી થોડું પણ અમલમાં મૂકી શકીશું તો અમે અમારી જાતને ભાગ્યશાળી સમજીશું અને પીસ તરફ જઈશું. And I would also like to thank all our dear friends who have joined today in such a wonderful lecture and sharing of his wisdom. So Swamiji, thank you very much. Khub khub aabhar, dhanyawad, and have a nice day. Om Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.